Hello, it is August 2nd, 2026, 6:21 p.m. Numi is being a little crazy. Um, I am at home, about to go watch Spider Man, and I wanted to come here and make a video because it's been a minute. It's been a minute since I've posted. Um, I don't know if you guys can hear the music in the background, but there's like a festival going on where I live right now, and they have like performers and stuff. So if you hear that, it's just some background music, you know. Uh, anyway, but today I wanted to talk about how I have been so obsessed with consuming like relationship content for a very long time. And now I've kind of come to the conclusion that I may have so much knowledge about this in my head that instead of consuming more, I want to start telling people about it. Yes. So that's what I want to talk about today. I don't know what I'm going to name this video, but that's what I want to talk about. So that's what we're going to talk about. So let's talk about this. um so as I said previously, or just said, I have consumed so much content about relationships. And when I say relationships, like, I guess I mean like romantic relationships, but this could apply to like any sort of relationships. So like friendships, family, like anything, right? In the past 3 years mainly, but also I would say I've always been somebody who's been like really drawn to like psychology and human behavior and all of those things. So I'd say more than that. But specifically in these past 3 years, I have consumed a lot of this content. Um, and what I've come to realize is what I'm going to share in this video. So let's get into it. Think in today's society, relationships are a math problem. And I think I've said this before in a video. So if I'm repeating myself, that's just me, spitballing. But relationships are viewed as a math problem. Very 2 plus 2 equals 4. Very, if this person does X, then Y. If this person does X, it doesn't do X, then Y, like very conditional, like if then statements, as I've mentioned previously. And I don't agree with this because as I've come to learn more about myself, learn more about people, talk to more people, humans are complex, man. They're very complex beings. Every single person is different. You cannot reduce them down to a singular formula, you know? And I think we also have this big requirement in today's society that there needs to be some sort of commitment in romantic relationships. And I'm just talking about like my personal experience with this. I feel like I used to be somebody who was very obsessed with commitment and not so much with getting to know the person per se. I was very commitment hungry, and that was my own wounds, from the past, like kind of following me. And then I kind of like took a hard look at why this was so important to me. What does this commitment signify to me, which makes it so. Why do I pedestalize it so much? Because I was putting it on such a pedestal that it was kind of ruining my ability to stay present. And I thought that, usually people seek commitment because they think that they want to feel safe. They think they want to feel safe, kind of knowing where you stand in the person's or your partner's life, right? But for me, it was more so about control. It was me trying to control my crushes or whoever like I was seeing's like actions. If they weren't committed to me, then they have more space to cheat on me or play me, or like they just have more space to like do these behaviors that people in like commitments don't do. But that's the flaw, right? That's the flawed way of thinking, right? I'll tell you why. Because if that's also you, where you kind of like come to the conclusion that you want commitment because it's coming from a perspective of control and not safety, I think I wouldn't say flawed because that's like a heavy word, but I would say like it's just like not the correct way to look at it. Because if that was the case, if commitment and labels truly prevented somebody from not doing these things to you, then people who were in marriages wouldn't cheat on each other. They have commitment and they have like a legal piece of paper saying that they're in a commitment. So, there's two things that's technically supposed to stop them from like cheating, but it doesn't. Or people in like boyfriend girlfriend tag relationships would still not cheat on each other, but they do. So that's like one thing that I started thinking about, that why are we so focused on commitment, you know? Or maybe I was too focused on it. Instead of asking the more important question, which was, do I actually align with this person? Does this person actually align with me? Do we have the same goals? Do we value the same things? Do we have fun together? Do we conflict? Like, do we have a good like conflict resolution system in place? Do we have the same financial goals? Do we have the same spiritual goals? Do we have the same vision for our life? Are we like are our characters compatible? Like who we are as people, is that compatible? Those are the more important questions that I think we all should be asking ourselves. Then, is this person going to commit to me? Because I've known of stories where, and like I said, I have been on like relationship Reddit, relationship YouTube, relationship TikTok, relationship Instagram, relationship Substack. I've read books about it, so I've literally honed like it from everywhere, okay? And I've read stories where people have displayed like acts of so much like sacrifice and love and commitment to somebody without even being like committed to someone, So it really makes me think, like, ultimately I think it just comes down to what you want and if this aligns with you and if this makes you happy. Because as humans, I've said this again multiple times, we're looking for a place to belong, right? We want to be accepted by other people because of our evolutionary needs. Because if like during the Stone Age, like if we weren't accepted if we weren't accepted by our like people, then we would be a one-man person, like a lone person, and would be, you would die faster, is what I'm saying. Like, if you didn't belong to a group of people, you would die faster. But, so it's like our, like, ancient brain still, like, kind of thinks like that. But now you're not in that danger, but we still think that way. So it's just like, we're so obsessed with wanting people to accept us because of how our brains have historically been, that we don't stop ourselves for a second and ask ourselves, does this person really make me happy? Do I feel happy when I'm with this person? I don't think it's about the person. I don't think it's ever about the person. I don't look at relationships like a, what's the word? Like, what can this person bring to the table type of way anymore. I guess I do a little bit, but it's more so about myself. Like, am I happy? Do I feel valued? Do I feel respected? Do I feel good in relation to this person, and because ultimately the only thing that's in my control is me. How that person shows up or doesn't show up is never in my control. It's in their control, you know? So I think I've like changed my views about this a lot, and I don't I pride myself on not attaching myself to specific opinions. So take everything I say with a grain of salt, because maybe a few months down the line, a few years down the line, my opinions might change, and yours might too, and that's okay. So right now, at this point in my life, I just think that a relationship for me is all about whether I feel a certain way with somebody, and it's not so much about them, because I've seen online and also in like these, like, just like these books I've read or whatever, it like most of the focus is always on the other person, like, oh, he's not committing to me, or she's like, I don't know, what's the complaint, like, she's women are perfect, so I'm kidding, but she's not giving me enough attention, or they're doing XYZ. But it's never about how am I showing up. Am I showing up how I would be showing up if I already were feeling loved, respected, and if I already was in like a happy, healthy, committed relationship? And I think that's where we need to start from, It starts with self, tying back to Neville. Like, it just starts with you. For me, a good relationship is based on mutual trust, fun times, good problem solving, and it's almost like I'm with my best friend who I get to be with every single day, and we just have fun, and we problem solve, and we have conflicts, and we enjoy our time together. Like, that's what a relationship is to me. Maybe for you, you want someone who has a lot of money and flies you all around the world, and that is totally fine. But I feel like you need to decide, or you need to you need to ask yourself, what do you want? I don't think it's about all these people online, even me to that matter, telling you what you want. I don't think anyone can answer that for you but you. So I'd take a pen and a paper and get as real with myself as I can, because ultimately these videos and this content only works if you apply it. It only helps if you are going to apply it. Like, sure, you can consume all the content that you want about getting fit or, losing weight, but you still gotta go to the gym. You still gotta eat right. Like, that's not gonna happen magically. Like, you gotta do it. Note to self. But yeah, that's what I guess I've been pondering about relationships. And lastly, I also made like an Instagram reel about this recently, but I think we all just need a lot of grace, That word keeps coming to my mind, like, lately. Grace, grace, grace. Like, it's just very much like, I saw this quote somewhere that we're all so emotionally intelligent these days that sometimes we forget that sometimes people need time, And I'm not saying this to justify people who are, like, hurting you on purpose or, like, abusing you or, just extremes, but I'm just talking about normal people who are just afraid. Like, if someone's afraid, that's different than someone like having like a serious mental health issue. Like, that is very different. But it's just like, sometimes you gotta be patient. Like, and you can like discern that with people, because the deeper you know yourself and the more you understand yourself, you will come to see how much you start understanding people. Like, you can distinguish between people easily. The reason I don't encounter people who take advantage of me or are like, extremes, I've never encountered those type of people, and I never will, and I'll tell you why. My intuition guides me. I immediately know when someone's a good person, someone's a bad person. Immediately. Like, they just don't appear in my reality because I just don't cross paths with them. I don't. So it's just like, you gotta extend that grace to somebody else, but you have to start with yourself. You have to extend that grace to you first. You know, like, start with you. Like, be like more like use grace in your life. Like, you're doing the best you can with the best that you have at the moment, and that's enough. You know, you don't have to keep going to the past and bringing the past with you every day, because it's truly gone. The only place it exists is in your head, and you can control that. You can truly control that. The future hasn't happened. That's also something that is just in your head, and you can control that. They aren't tangible points at the moment. At the moment, there's only the present. It's only the now. There's nothing else, truly. So if you can understand that you're not the person you were yesterday, not even a moment ago. I'm not the person I was 15 minutes ago. If you can understand that truly, and you can give yourself the grace that you really are someone different at the moment, your life will truly change, and your relationships will change, because people are just reflections of what you give to yourself. And I wholly, fully believe this. So, yeah. I hope that one helped. And yeah, let's go out.